Some truckers drive for the paycheck, some for the silence, and a few for the signal. Dale Mercer, everyone called him Big Dale, had been on the road for almost 40 years. Retired once, came back 6 months later, said the house was too quiet. He didn't care about the miles, didn't mind the long nights or lonely diners or the ache in his knees that never really left. Dale had one real love: radios, the analog kind, knobs, dials, antennas you had to tune by ear, not Bluetooth, not apps. He kept a collection of old CB units in his garage, called it the Boneyard. Dozens of radios, some rusted, some cracked, most still working. He'd pull them apart, clean the wiring, swap resistors. Said each one had its own personality, like they remembered the voices that passed through them. His favorite was a battered Cobra 148 he found at a junk auction in Missouri. It was barely holding together, chassis bent, antenna socket split, but something about it called to him. Literally, the auctioneer plugged it in for the demo, and the thing started picking up a frequency no one else could hear. Dale said it sounded like whispering, fast, layered, like 10 voices speaking at once through a vent. He bought it for $5, spent the next 3 months rebuilding it, rewound the coils, polished the knobs, soldered a new grounding wire to a custom antenna he mounted on the side of his rig. And when it finally powered up, it did something no other radio he owned had ever done. It scanned past channel 40 and kept going. Channel 41.42, 43, 44. Static mostly. But then it landed on one he'd never seen before. Channel 606. No crackle, no hum, just silence, which was strange, because silence on that old rig usually meant the antenna wasn't grounded. But he checked it twice. The grounding was perfect. It wasn't dead. It was waiting. Dale laughed it off at first, bragged about it to the old heads at the Iowa 80 truck stop. Most thought he was full of it. Ain't number 606, Dale. CBs stop at 40. Always have. Maybe your rig's haunted, one guy joked. Dale didn't mind. Let him laugh. But that night, on a solo run through Nebraska farmland, something answered. He was half asleep, cruising through a flat stretch where the wind makes the power lines sing. Had the radio turned low, just static. Then the dial twitched, on its own, shifted up to 606, and the speaker clicked. Once, twice, then a voice, clear, calm, familiar. Hello, Dale. He froze, looked at the mic, checked the settings. No one else on the road. No cell towers nearby. Just flat fields and moonlight. Dale, are you listening? The voice was low, steady, genderless, not robotic, but not quite human. It didn't sound like it came through the radio. It sounded like it came from the truck itself, like the cab had grown a voice. He reached for the mic, pressed the talk button. Who is this? No answer, just breathing. Then a new sound, static yes but layered, like old transmissions playing over one another. Conversations from different times, bleeding together. Breaker, breaker, 19er. You hear that sound back there? She just walked out of the fog. That ain't no deer. Voices Dale had heard before, from other channels, other nights. CB calls that should have been lost. But they were here now, all of them, talking at once. Then they stopped. One voice remained. Oh, closer. Let's talk about the crash, Dale. He slammed the power switch. Nothing happened. The radio stayed on. The voice continued. You didn't check the brakes. You told dispatch it was maintenance error. But you know that's not true. Dale's hands gripped the wheel. Art. His breath came fast now. That wasn't your fault, was it? The radio crackled. Or was it? The windshield fogged. Slowly. Words etched across the inside of the glass. Channel 606 is open. That was just the beginning. The radio didn't shut off. Not when Dale pulled the fuse. Not when he yanked the wires. Not when he unplugged the entire rig and tossed the unit onto the side of the road. It just came back. Every night. Same channel. Same voice. Or at least it started that way. The first night it was calm. Quiet. Just breathing. Then a name. Dale. He ignored it. Turned on music. But the voice kept bleeding through. Whispering between notes. Like static shaped into vowels. Like the words were crawling under the song. Why'd you leave him in that ditch, Dale? His chest locked up. The music stopped. The radio cut straight to silence. Then, screeching. Metal on metal. Then a gurgle. What? Choked. Like someone trying to scream through a throat full of glass. He reached for the CB mic. Pressed the talk button. Who is this? But there was no answer. Only more audio. Overlapping voices now. Talking over each other like broken recordings being played at once. He said, wait for me. I saw the lights go off. Please help. Then a single tone. High-pitched. Drilled straight into his ears. He threw the unit out the window again. But the next night it was back. Sitting neatly on the dashboard. Wires reconnected. Dial glowing green. Set to 606. The voice that night was different. It sounded like a dispatcher. Called out codes Dale hadn't heard in decades. Then switched. Became a little girl. You left him, Dale. You didn't check if he was breathing. Then it laughed. Not a child's laugh. Something older. Thicker. Like dust coughing itself into sound. He told himself it was sleep deprivation. Hallucinations. But the guilt was real. And so was the memory. Back when he was hauling steel out of Pennsylvania. His cousin Mark had joined him for a double run. Riding shotgun for extra money. Just two guys, two thermoses, one beat-up cassette player. Somewhere around 3 a.m. they hit black ice. Trailer jackknifed. Rig flipped. Dale got out fine. Mark didn't. He was pinned. Legs crushed. Mouth bleeding. Begged Dale to stay. But something made Dale run. Cold. Fear. So he told the cops later that he went for help. That he couldn't reach Mark in time. But he'd always known the truth. He didn't look back. Couldn't. That's what the voice on Channel 606 reminded him of. Night after night. The voice changed each time. Sometimes it was Mark. Sometimes it was himself. Talking in circles. Asking questions. Never the same order. Never the same tone. Why didn't you lift the beam? He was still talking when you walked away. He forgave you. Why can't you? Dale stopped sleeping. Started smoking again. Parked at truck stops but never got out. Just sat there. Radio on. Static playing like a funeral dirge. Until the voice returned. And it always returned. One night he tried to record it. Hooked up a digital mic. Captured hours of static, whispers, echoing CB chatter. But when he played it back, there was nothing. No voices. No questions. One file. Labeled automatically. Confession under 606.wave. It hadn't been titled by his device. He checked the metadata. Creation time 3:13 a.m. File length 6 minutes 6 seconds. He hit play. Silence. Then a deep inhale. And the sound of his voice, saying things he didn't remember saying. About Mark. About other things. About the crash no one knew about in Arizona. The one that didn't make the papers. And in the background, the sound of scraping. Nails across glass. And the same phrase repeating over and over, low, mechanical. All signals return. Dale ripped the radio out again. Drove in silence for 3 days. No music. No CB. No sleep. Then, night 4. He hit static again. Looked at the dash. The unit was back. Glowing green. Channel 606. And this time, the voice whispered, "We're almost ready," and something knocked from inside the dashboard. What? Then again, slow, rhythmic, like it wasn't trying to get out, but trying to keep time with Dale's heart. The night Dale lost the last of his mind started like any other. He was halfway through Kansas, sky bruised purple with an incoming storm. The CB had been quiet all day. No voices, no flicker, no sign of channel 606. But that silence wasn't peace, it was pause. And at exactly 3:13 a.m. the speaker clicked. A voice different now, not whispering, not layered, not echoing from outside the truck. It was inside him. It spoke without sound. And still he heard every word. "You can't outrun a frequency, Dale. We've been dialing into you for years. You heard us the day he screamed. You just pretended not to." Dale slammed on the brakes. Gravel flew. His rig stopped in a cloud of dust and rage. He ripped the CB out with both hands, wires snapping like tendons. Threw it against the windshield. The unit sparked, but didn't shut off. The LED screen blinked. 606. Then a symbol, like an ear, crossed out. Then blinking letters. No escape. That's when Dale lost it. He turned the rig around, gunned the engine back toward Missouri. Drove 6 straight hours to the junkyard where he bought the original unit. Parked just outside the fence. Broke in, tore through the rows like a madman, pulling radios out of cars, smashing them under his boots, cracking open dashboards, ripping wires, screaming until his voice was raw. One of the yard dogs howled, then went silent. The wind shifted. Radio antennas across the yard turned. All of them, slowly, in unison, toward Dale. And then every speaker in the lot, every dusty, broken, long-dead CB, came to life. You can destroy the radio, Dale, but the signal is in you now. He froze, his blood pounding like static in his ears. He turned. Every shattered unit he'd crushed was glowing green. One of them began repeating a sound, a heartbeat. Thump, thump. Another played a voice. "You left me." Another. "You still see the ditch." Another. "Say it. Say it out loud." And then, every speaker at once. "Confess." Dale ran, stumbled back to his cab, got in, locked the doors. But the CB was already back, sitting on the passenger seat, untouched, wires intact, still warm, and whispering, "Say it, Dale." He screamed. He bled. "You left him." He slammed his fists on the dash. "I know." Silence. Then applause. Slow. Mocking. From the speakers. From the vents. From the engine itself. A final message blinked across the CB screen. Tuned. That was the last time anyone saw Dale. His truck was found a week later, door open, engine idling. CB still on. Channel 606. Dispatchers could hear static from miles away, unusual for that range. Inside the cab, scrawled into the windshield with a soldering iron, were 5 words. The frequency finds the listener. No blood, no sign of struggle, just a cassette tape, labeled Confession Under 606, and on the tape, a voice, not Dale, but it knew everything Dale did. They say Channel 606 still plays, but no one admits to listening for long. 3 months after Dale Mercer vanished, the report started. Quietly at first, a mention on a late-night trucker forum. Picked up something strange westbound past Amarillo. Channel 606. Anyone else? Then a reply. Heard it too. Thought it was a prank. But the voice, it knew my name. Another. Didn't hear a thing, just felt cold, like something was crawling down the back of my brain. The CB community, even in an era of smartphones and GPS, still passes word mouth to mouth. Signals that shouldn't exist. Frequencies that drift. Ghosts that ride the wires. And then came the story from a driver known only as Coastline Jake. He called in during a midnight broadcast on WZTR, an AM station out of Lubbock known for conspiracy chatter. His voice shook. It was Dale. I swear to God. Same tone. Same pace. Told me to switch to 606. My CB doesn't even go past 40. The host asked what happened next. Jake paused, then whispered. He told me something I hadn't told a soul. Something that happened in a snowstorm in 2002. The line cut. Jake was never heard from again. His rig was found weeks later. Locked, engine cold, CB mic still in the cradle. The radio was off, but the cassette player had been recording. Inside, Dale's voice. Breaker 19. Just checking in. Then laughter. Not his. Not Jake's. Something else. What? Mechanical. Timeless. Rumors keep spreading. Some say you only hear 606 if you're carrying guilt. Some say it's a cursed signal that needs receivers to survive. Others say Dale didn't die. That his mind fused with the frequency. That now he is the signal. Every few months, another rig is found empty. Key in the ignition. No sign of struggle. Just a final CB transmission, saved by the onboard dash system. They all end the same way. Channel 606. Loud and clear. A year later, at a rest stop near Pueblo, Colorado, a rookie driver checked into a motel. Young. New license. Couldn't sleep. Decided to fiddle with the old CB mounted in his company rig. Tried every channel. Nothing. Until he turned the knob just past 40. And found static. Then a voice. Welcome, driver. Been waiting for you. He thought it was a prank. Laughed. Played along. Who is this? Silence. Then. Ask your father about mile marker 12. That driver never told anyone what happened next. But he never used a CB again. And he never, ever drove at night. They say the frequency is still out there. Stronger near abandoned lots, wreckage sites, and the graveyards of analog. And if you hear it, if you ever hear your name come through the static, whatever you do, don't answer. Because 606 doesn't just call. It connects. And once it connects, you become part of the signal. Plus, breaker, you still with us? Big Dale's story is one of many lost in the static. But what if you could hear it? What if the frequency calls to you next, and you're the one who answers? Have you ever heard a voice on the airwaves that shouldn't be there? Have you felt a presence, a connection that crossed the line between reality and something else? Let us know your theories in the comments below, because once the signal connects, it never disconnects. And don't forget to subscribe, because next time you might not just be listening, you might be driving.